Awesome. So I am here with Megan Brady, and we are here to spread a little bit of 2026 inspiration.
Mhm.
So, Megan,
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear
Hmm.
what lessons did you learn in 2025? Maybe about yourself personally, about horses, about riding,
Yeah.
about body work. And I know that you started also coaching
Yeah.
body workers, right?
So I started doing, yes, that's how it started out, but it's kind of branched out to just equine professionals in general.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
so yeah, that's been fun and exciting. And I started doing less one-on-one, and I do a 6-month cohort with like group mentorship. And not that I don't do one-on-one, but that's been like the main focus. And that's been really fun because it's a lot of different people from different walks of life in the equine world. And it's really nice to come together and get different people's viewpoints on things and just kind of have round table discussions too. So I'm enjoying it for sure.
So what were the lessons that stand out for you from 2025?
So I think one of the biggest lessons about horses is that, and it wasn't really like this big aha, moment, but it's something that I'm just constantly reminded of, and that horses are constantly are communicating to us. And if I think the biggest lesson that I continue to learn is that if we can just pause and quiet ourselves and not just, I mean, like take a deep breath, but really be really quiet our nervous system and quiet their nervous system. There's so much more communication that goes on between us and our horses, and they really are constantly communicating to us. And when we start noticing those subtle changes, we can prevent so many things that can happen, um, from tension to compensation to lamenesses. So that's a big lesson that I'm constantly reminded of. And, horses are wonderful teachers, as we all know, for that.
Horses are wonderful. Do
Yes.
you have a story that sticks out where like it became super apparent and it kind of made you change a little bit how you
I, you
are
know,
around horses?
I will even say just with my own horse, I kind of fell into a little bit of you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of just a snowball over the last couple years because, something was just like not right with him for, I would say, the past 2 years. I came home
Mm,
from Florida 2 years ago, and he just, we had a good season, and but he just didn't adjust well from like Florida back to Virginia.
mm,
And I had vets look at him. I had, you know, chiropractors look at him. I had other body workers. I had different trainers look at him. And everybody kind of was just like, nothing's wrong. And,
mm.
I've had him since he's a foal. And so I'm like, there is absolutely something like that's not right. Like, I just know this animal. And even though there's nothing diagnostic going like that we can find, I decided actually this year just to give him time off, give him a year off and just really work with him in a more personal way, in a more just spending time together and just grooming, just doing groundwork, and just really listening to him in a different type of way than I ever did before. And I've learned so much about him as an individual, even though he is my own horse and I spent all this time with him.
That's so cool, right?
And it's just been amazing. And I think that if we can all just take a step back, and I'm not saying everybody needs to give their horse a year off and do that, but that was my personal decision to do that. So and just really, yeah. And it's really transcend my work too in body work. I approach
Mhm.
things a lot differently than I ever have. Um, And I really,
because of this lesson that you learned?
that and just really working with the horse's nervous system before I even go into tissue work.
Hmm.
Because if they are not, if they are not in a relaxed state, it doesn't really matter what I do because they can't receive the work.
Hmm. And is this something you learned about yourself as well?
Yes, 1000%.
It's funny how they're like a mirror for
Yeah,
most
yeah,
everything in life.
yeah. And so that was probably my biggest lesson that I learned in 25 is that really giving I have a tendency to, or I had a tendency to um, overdo it. Just keep going when I was tired, keep going when I knew I shouldn't, and just really not creating the space I needed to for myself. And I would say both professionally and personally. And
Hmm.
really, you know, I really was pushed my nervous system to a point that I stopped listening to my body. Yeah.
As many people do,
Yeah,
right?
it's a common problem. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are beautiful lessons learned.
Yeah.
So, you know, they say 2025 was the year of the sneak, so we're
Mhm.
shedding things.
Yeah.
What's something from, the past year or past that you just want to drop, not even think about, not work through, just leave behind?
Um, I think releasing the sense of urgency and the pressure to keep up or to prove something. I think that, and also letting go of the responsibility of things that aren't mine, if that makes sense.
That's a tough one. That's a
Yeah.
hard one.
It is
Yeah.
like, everything from people's timelines to expectations.
Mhm.
And it's going to be hard. I know that. But
Well, we're already a little bit into 2026, so is it feeling like lighter so far?
it is lighter. I'm definitely I have had some lessons already in learning that. And it's funny when you say you want to let things go, how the universe kind of says, "Are you sure?" And
Yes. Hmm.
and puts it right in your face. And I just recently I had something happen and I was like, I caught myself. I literally caught myself and I'm like, "Oh, nope. You don't do that anymore. That's not for you." So,
That can be a challenge, habits
yeah,
hard to
I mean,
break.
it's probably something I've been doing all my life, right? Or I know
Mhm.
I've been at one point doing it all my life, and setting up those boundaries. Yeah.
That's awesome. It's a beautiful resolution to make. Did you like set a New Year's resolution to do that, or did it just kind of evolve from?
I think it kind of evolved and it just kind of happened that, I always try to reflect on, at the new year. I don't really make these like grandiose goals and but I do
Mhm.
try to set intentions for the year. And so that was definitely something like I was like, I'm not going to do that anymore. And I'm going to be really intentional with my boundaries with people and my clients, personal life, everything. And
Mhm.
yeah, so
Awesome. That
mhm.
feels really lovely.
Yeah, it does. It feels
So
freeing in one way.
freeing,
Yeah,
is that what you
feels
said?
freeing. Yeah,
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 because it makes you feel more like you, because it
yeah.
helps with your nervous system regulation. Like,
I think both. I think there's a little bit of that like people pleasing in that, you don't want to disappoint people, you don't want to let them down,
worse.
and I know that is something I work on a lot. And so I think when that comes up, when you do disappoint people, when you do have a boundary, um, you have to, there is a consequence to that sometimes for other people. They don't always like that. And I think for a long time, especially in my professional life and personal, but I definitely wanted to like please a lot of people.
Mhm. So
And
now you're pleasing yourself more.
right, Right.
Awesome.
But just staying true to myself. How's that?
Well, I mean, I think being true to yourself and taking care of yourself in return helps you be a better person for other people. So I think
Yeah.
sometimes we try to do a lot of things for other people, but when if we, don't fill our own cup, then we don't have actually have that much to give. So maybe in the end, it will
Right.
feel like you're giving more.
Yeah. And I think too, I've a big lesson I learned is that not everyone um, deserves my energy.
And that's a big one.
Yeah.
So you said you kind of set some intentions, so you
Mhm.
don't like sit down and set goals, but do you have different intentions like for you personally, for your horses, or like your relationship with your horses, and then also separate for work, something that you want to share?
Yeah, so I think for personally, I want more, I've been saying the word spaciousness. So, more spaciousness personally in
Mhm.
my life, more steadiness. I've always put my health and my home and my relationships. They're very important to me. So really focusing on those as well, but also making it that I feel everything is reciprocal, that it's not just draining. So I think spaciousness and taking my time in things, if that makes sense.
Mhm. Slowing down, being more present.
Yeah. And then professionally, um, I'm really enjoying mentoring and I love body work. I love what I do. I will always do that. But I think I'm creating a lot more depth in my body work business and I'm focusing a lot more on leadership and mentorship on my
Nice.
on my mentorship side. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Mhm.
And you kind of touched on like getting deeper in your relationship with your horse.
Mhm.
So are they like some intentions that you set for how you want to be with your horse and with horses in general, going along with, you know, this idea of slowing down and listening
Yeah.
more?
I think for me with my own horse, I think, really, especially with our own horses, I think we can get to this place where we feel rushed or we feel like we have to, they have to be worked or they have to do like, and I know I have fallen into that trap at times. And I've fallen into the trap of like, I've worked all day and I only have an hour and you know what I mean? And I gotta do,
Mhm.
all the things. So, and I started it, in the fall, I would say, and I'd just like to continue that, being really present with my horses,
Mhm.
and taking my time with them and being really clear and consistent.
Mm.
And because I think when we're rushed like that, I don't think we are very clear with our animals. I think we just go into like automatic zone, whatever that is. It could even just be simple grooming. But we just kind of go really automatic and we're not very intentional. And that I think that creates uncertainty in them when we're in that state and we're not being very
Mm.
clear.
It affects them negatively, is what you're
When
saying.
1000%.
And
1000%.
also, it's funny because we get into horses, we love horses because we love them and we want to spend time with them. And then, like you said, a lot of times it ends up being like a job, even though it's not our job, or,
Right.
like something where we feel pressure. And that's
Mhm.
such a weird thing that kind of happens, I think, a lot of times.
Yeah. And that is something I also have learned over the years with my body work and when to say no, because I think I went through a phase of my business where I started to resent what I was doing because I didn't have the time to spend with my own animals.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I think that's what I also mean about setting boundaries and being more spacious. So it's more intentional that I have the time that I actually cherish with my own animals. Yeah.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I hope that it turns out to be a most delicious and spacious 2026 for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This was
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah.
And if I can ask just at the end, do you have like a message or something that you really would love to be able to say to horse people, riders, something that's on your heart?
Yeah, I think that um, our horses aren't asking more like effort from us. They're just asking for more awareness. And if we can just take the
Mm,
time and be more aware of what they're actually communicating, I think that we will have deeper relationships with them. And I think we can prevent a lot that's happening in their bodies.
mhm. That's beautiful. Awareness is a great message.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.